Let's take a look at assigning and publishing software packages with group policy. Today we are logging on to 2008 server. We've been talking about group policy. We've done roaming user profiles, restrictive desktop policies, logon messages, password policies. Today we're going to look at deploying software using group policy. Let's add the GPMC, Group Policy Management Console, via a Microsoft Management Console snap-in. And let's go here, open up everything where we can kind of see it nice and easy there. And again, just remember some of the settings of our group policy. In this case, we have two policies being applied. They're cumulative, or that is, their settings will combine unless they conflict, in which case the last policy applied, which would be this one, since this one's applied at a higher level, would be dominant, or would be chosen over any conflict with this one. Now the exception to that, remember, is if I chose enforce, see how this lock appears, then in this case this policy would override this one, even if we had turned on block policy inheritance here. So enforce will override that. I'm going to go and turn that off. Remember, we also talked about filtering. If you filter a GPO, go to the delegation tab and click on advanced. Basically what you want to do is edit the access control entry on the DACL for that object. So if a user can't read or apply group policy, if they don't have that permission, then that GPO doesn't apply to them. We did that to Tesla. We explicitly denied read and apply group policy permission. We could have implicitly denied it as well, but he's a member of more than one group. So if any other group had read permission and apply group policy permission, that GPO is still applied to them. So in this case, we chose to explicitly deny him permission. So if he can't read it, that GPO doesn't apply to him. He's been filtered out of it. Now what we're going to do is create a GPO. We'll create and link a GPO here. We'll call this one NH Software Install. And let's go edit this GPO. And we'll look at some of the different possibilities. Under software settings, you have them under both the computer and user tab, but let's look at some of the differences. If we were to try to add a software package here, I'm going to go to, let's go here and here. And I'm going to show you, this is going to use the absolute path mapped to the drive loader. That's not a good thing. We want this deployed across the network via a network share, so it needs a UNC path. But 2008 will warn you about that, so I'll show you. I'll go ahead and what we'll need to do is go in that folder and share that object out. But just to show you what would happen. Cannot verify the network location. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. We'll open up Explorer. And let's go. And we want to go to our E drive. And let's go here and share this out. And we just want to make sure that everybody has permission. Again, I'd probably remove everyone. At least this way, you're limiting access to authenticated users, and they don't need full controller right, just to read access on the folder. We'll say OK, OK, OK. And of course they're also on the security tab, or they have NTFS permissions for that as well. Let's get the UNC to go to that directory now. So the UNC would be background, Office 2003, Office 2003. And that's the UNC path that we want. So now we'll go back here. And let's look at software installation. And we want to go. We'll go ahead and select this as the file name, and then I'm just going to paste the UNC path right here. So this will actually be our share level path right here. Now notice my options. I can either use the assign software mode or advanced mode. Published is grayed out because we're under computer configuration. You can't publish to a computer. You can assign and publish to a user, but you can only assign to a computer. And by assigning, what happens is when this computer boots up, and remember computer policy is applied first and then user policy, that software would be installed and made available the next time the machine boots up. So if I were to choose to assign the package, I'll go ahead and click OK. And then the package would appear here. And then I could right click and go to Properties. And then under Properties, we can decide what we want to call the package or label it. Its deployment, if we want to modify or make any changes there. Upgrades and service packs we can control. We can specify a category if we want. In this case, if this particular application were being published, it would be listed in Add Remove Programs, and we could add a category to it. As it is, remember, we can't publish to a computer, we can only assign. Modifications, and of course, we could edit the DACL, just like anything else on NTFS permissions or an Active Directory, with the access control entries. So some of the options there. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. And notice the option there. When I remove this package, I can immediately uninstall it from all the machines that's installed on the network, or I can choose to allow them to do it on their own later. Okay, let's go and look at the software publishing and assigning capabilities under the user configuration node. I'm going to select package. Again, I want to select my Office package. And this time, let's do this one. And let me go ahead and add my UNC path. I'll paste it in there. Notice my options are different. I can publish or assign. Again, if I publish, in this case to the user, it won't be installed when the computer boots like it would if it were published to computer, but it will be made available to them in Add Remove Programs. On the other hand, if I assign to the user, in this case a shortcut would be added to their start menu, and then when they clicked on that icon, it would be installed. So two different options, but we'll make this one available via Control Panel. And again, you also have the advanced option there. Okay, and there's Microsoft Office Professional Edition 2003. Now let's configure a category for available software packages. Let's go ahead and add a category here. And let's call this, what do we call it? We'll call it Office Software. And we'll add another category and we'll call it Engineering Software. We'll just add a couple of categories here. And what I want to show you is we'll go add one more package. And we have one more package here. Let's do our tools here, and again I just want to use the UNC path or network path, and we'll choose publish on this one as well. This actually goes with Office, but we'll place these in two different categories just to show you how they would be listed. So now I'll place this one under Office Software, and I'll go ahead and click Apply, and I'm going to place this one under Engineering Software, and we'll click Apply. Now in addition, I'm going to add Microsoft Project, but instead of assigning this time, or excuse me, instead of publishing this time, we will assign. So we go here, 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 and we'll choose this for MS Project. And again, I just want to get the UNC there. And that would be here, here, here. And just copy and paste that string there. So here's my file server, Sarah. Here's my network share, the folder that I've shared out. And there's the path to the program. And in this case, instead of published, we'll choose assign. We'll look at the difference between those two options. Okay, so I have all these options available. In this case, we've configured this to publish our applications or our software. Let's go ahead and filter this GPO as well. Let's go back here and we'll filter this GPO on one of our users. Let's kind of review filtering. How about we'll filter it on Einstein. Everybody else has already been filtered, so I'm going to go ahead and go to advanced. I'm going to add, and I'm going to go ahead and say OK. Okay, we're going to add Einstein. Notice he has read permission. What we want to do is filter that out. He won't apply the group policy GPO object, and he won't be able to read it. So he'll be filtered out there. And again, just a warning that we're explicitly denying. But he's a member of multiple groups, so we may not want him. We may not want to use implicit denial. We may actually want to use explicit denial here, because if he's a member of another group that does have read permission, then the GPO would still apply to him. Okay, let's log out. We'll log in on our Vista workstation and see what happens when software is published, and when it's assigned, and when it's filtered. Let's log in now as one of our users, and log in as Tesla, who has been filtered out of the restrictive desktop GPO. Oops, had a simple password. So this way he'll be able to go into Control Panel and look at Add Remove Programs. And let's look at software that's published to, or assigned to a user, or software that has been assigned to a computer. Tesla's logging in. And here's his desktop. Choose not to run that at startup, and let's go ahead and go. We'll look through our programs here. Notice that Microsoft Office appears here on the menu. Now it's been assigned, so it's just a shortcut, and actually it won't install until I click on it. So if I click on it, notice now the Windows installer loads the WMI file. That WMI file, I'm going to go ahead and cancel because I don't want to go through the process. We'll stop. But at least he has that option available to him. Anytime he decides that he needs Office, he can install it. And that from a file server across the network, he doesn't have to have, the CD or the DVD with him. Let's go ahead and look at Control Panel. Now that was the result of software being assigned. Again, it's just a shortcut on the Start menu. Install when you click on it. Let's look at the result of software being published. And I'm going to go to Classic View. And we'll go to Programs and Features. And then we have a few options here. View installed updates, get new programs online, view purchase software. In this case, let's install a program from the network, and notice that here are my published programs. And so I could choose, from Control Panel, all the programs that were published, they would appear here. And all of the assigned programs would appear here as a shortcut on my Start menu.
Now that we've covered installing software with group policy, let's take a look at restricting software installation.
We're on our 2008 server now. going to log on, and we're going to look at a few more group policy settings. Last time we looked at deploying software with group policy, and we could assign the software to a computer, we could assign or publish it to a user, and based on what we did, different things would happen. Let's do something here. Make sure there's I don't have anything. Make sure there are no policies restricted here. Oh, remind me later. We'll update. Alright, we're going to make a new policy, and we're going to restrict software, and it's just going to be here on enemy agents, or enemy agents OU. So we're going to create and link a GPO here, and let's see. Prevent software installation is what we'll call it. And I'm going to go ahead and edit this GPO. And what I want to do is go down to User, and under Windows Settings, and Security Settings, let's open this up. And you'll see here, there's this item, Software Restriction Policies. And I want to go ahead and right-click, say New Software Restriction Policies. When I do that, notice these three options appear: Disallowed, Basic User, and Unrestricted. This is the most permissive, this is intermediate based on user permissions, and this would be the most restricted type of permission. So I'm going to go ahead and set that as my default. We want to prevent Dr. Evil and our enemy agents from installing harmful applications and malicious software. But there are also additional rules, and let's take a look at that. What I could do, even though I'm choosing not to allow normal applications to be installed on the enemy agents OU, I can add specific programs that I need them to install. So, say if I were going to let them install Frogger, this would generate a hash value based on the file size, its creation date, and other attributes of the file. And let's say that it wasn't a Frogger program, it was a Trojan. So we'll allow enemy agents to execute this Trojan. And in this case, now I've made a hash rule, and it appears for that particular item, Great Quest EXE, and so they could actually run that program or install it. But then, considering all other programs, they have been disallowed or denied the privilege of installing software. So let's go ahead and log out here, and let's do our GP update. And again, I could just type it, but sorry. I'll go ahead and run it from a command prompt so you can see what's going on. Policies updated. And let's log out and log in as one of our enemy agents. Now, one of the things we want to do, because of our restrictive desktop policy, in Northern Hemisphere, enemy agents would inherit that. Remember, Dr. Evil's here, and Evil Agents. He's one of our enemy agents, excuse me. So we want, this would restrict him from installing software. He wouldn't have access to the, in this case we haven't given him access to my computer or anything like that, but what we'll do is temporarily we'll just block policy inheritance, and so this policy here that's above will be blocked in the Northern Hemisphere. And we're about saving that. And I'm going to go ahead and do a GP update, and this time just run it from the prompt. Okay, here we are on our Windows Vista Ultimate Client or Workstation, and we're going to log in as Dr. Evil. Now remember, he has the software restriction GPO applied to him in his OU, and we're blocking policy inheritance from the desktop restriction OU, so that we'll have permission to use Windows Explorer and do a few things on the system. So we're going to log in, and I'm going to go to the network share UNC path of our 2008 enterprise server Sarah. And when I go to Sarah, I'm going to go into my shared folder here, background, and let's try to install a couple of applications. I'm going to go here, and here's an exe. Matter of fact, let me change that so you can see that. We'll go to folder and search options, view. I'm going to say show hidden files. I'm going to uncheck the hide file extensions and hide protected operating system files, and click apply. And let me set that for all my folders. And now we can see the file extensions, but you'll see a binary executable in exe. If I go to setup and I try to click on this and run it, look at the message. This program is blocked by group policy. For more information, contact your system administrator. Remember, I didn't generate a hash value for that, so I don't have permission to install it. And let's go here. Alright, the same thing if I were to go to MS Project and say I want to install. This program is blocked by group policy. Again, Office 2003. And if I were to go to setup, this program is blocked by group policy. So that's very useful if users are trying to install software they should not, or possibly malicious programs that might harm a workstation or server. Group policy can prevent the installation thereof. Now remember, I generated a hash value as an exception for greatquest.exe. Now this is basically an exe for a Frogger 3D game, and I don't have the full game installed, so it's not going to function or work properly. But I'm going to click on it, and at least you'll be able to see that it does, in fact, execute, and group policy does allow it to run because it is an exception to the rule. It has a hash value that's been generated for it. And again, see, we have no group policy message. In this case, just couldn't find the 3D because I don't have the whole game installed. So that's just an example of using group policy and software restriction policies.